The Nintendo GameCube was one of the greatest consoles of last generation. Nintendo managed to pull off the impossible and change up many of their Nintendo franchises like Metroid and Zelda, while also making great new franchises such as Pikmin. So with all these great Nintendo franchises, there were many franchises that sadly over time have fell into obscurity. There are many games that are just not talked about in today's society, and this top 10 is to bring those games back to the forefront of the gaming community and to talk about the top 10 hidden gems of the Nintendo GameCube.
In an ancient time, the evil mage Garm, using the power of the runestones, released a great evil upon the land. Gauntlet. Dark Legacy.
Sitting at number 10 is Gauntlet Dark Legacy, one of the best 4-player cooperative hack and slash games ever made. You and up to 3 friends can go through multiple zones, collecting runestones, fighting dragons, and fighting mythological creatures, going through and collecting items and leveling up along the way. What really makes this game to me is the amazing announcer you guys listen to at the beginning of this part. And that announcer just makes this game so much more fun than it already is. Definitely pick this game up on the cheap if you can, because this is definitely one of the best cooperative games that Midway has ever released. And they've released some pretty kick-ass co-op games. So this is definitely one to get for your Nintendo GameCube. At number 9 we have 1080 Avalanche. This is one of the greatest racing games I've ever played, and it's actually an extreme sports racing game. Now I'm not a big fan of sports games, but 1080 Avalanche was just done really well. Between the insane multiplayer, the multitude of tracks, the variety of tracks, and my favorite part right here, outrunning an avalanche at the end of the game. This game is certainly one to pick up. It has a high difficulty to it, but I think that really makes it an awesome game now that we can all go back and beat it. It also has tons of cool riders, boards, and unlockables, as well as a really amazing soundtrack that I still listen to this very day. 1080 Avalanche is definitely one game that you need for your Nintendo GameCube. WarioWare Inc. Mega Party Games for the Nintendo GameCube is the best party game to get for your GameCube. You and up to 3 friends can participate in many game modes, all revolving around the original WarioWare Inc. minigames. These are all extremely fun, and if you have a bunch of friends, definitely grab this game. Single player is really lacking, and definitely skip it if you're a single player person, but for multiplayer this is a must-have, and you will have hours of fun with your friends with this game. I guarantee it. Pick it up.
Start the game mode. Normal mode. Easy mode. Normal mode. Hard mode. Normal mode. That's it. Normal game. Try game. Normal game. That's it.
Flying in at number 7 is Ikaruga, a Nintendo GameCube game released by Treasure sometime in the mid-2000s, but it was originally released in the early 2000s on the Sega Dreamcast in Japan. Now, Ikaruga is a bullet hell shooter, and a fun one at that. Its primary gimmick is the fact that you can change the polarity of your ship between black and white, and whatever color you are, you can absorb the same color of bullets in order to release a strong counterattack. And this is the entire game, and it's just extremely fun, and it works very well. And I'm just glad this game made it to the US via the GameCube. Now, some could argue that this game is on the Xbox 360, and that's true, but due to file size limits, they had to cut that one down. So I'd really try to pick up the GameCube one if you can. It is fairly expensive, but then again, it is a bullet hell shooter, and these are always expensive, so I totally say it's worth the money, and definitely pick this game up. You will not be disappointed. Swinging in at number 6 is The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. You guys may be wondering, why is this game on this list? It's a Zelda game. How is it a hidden gem? Well, quite simply, to play this game, you needed to have 4 Game Boy Advances and 4 Game Boy Advance to GameCube link cables, and that was just impossible to set up. But now that everything's on the cheap, you can easily set this game up for your friends. Now onto the gameplay. The gameplay is really just the Link to the Past inspired levels, just with 3 of your friends, and that's really fun. You guys can work on puzzles together, fight bosses, and use tons of teamwork to get through this game. And there's also a big competitive aspect where you collect pieces of the Triforce and you get ranked. And overall, it's just a really fun title that I'd recommend, especially for those that still have their Game Boy Advances lying around. Definitely a must-have. Phasing in at number 5 on this list is Phantasy Star Online Episodes 1 and 2 Plus for the Nintendo GameCube. This game offered a lot of choices to the player. You could either play online or offline. You could play offline with 4 players simultaneous split screen, which is awesome, and one of the best action RPG adventures ever conceived. There's so much to do in this game, so many classes, so many difficulties, so many weapons. You could literally spend hundreds and hundreds of hours on this game, either online or offline. It is a very versatile game, and even today, if you have the broadband adapter for the GameCube, you can still play online. The game that keeps on giving. It's no wonder why this game is number 5 on my list. This game is an absolute must-have for fans of the RPG genre or fans of cooperative gaming experiences. Definitely one of the best GameCube games around. Barreling in at the number 4 spot on this list is Donkey Kong 3, the Japanese exclusive GameCube game that everyone should own. This is definitely the best in the series, and it's a shame that it never came to America. What makes the third in the trilogy so damn awesome is the soundtrack selection. It has the Dragon Ball Z theme, Super Smash Bros. Melee theme, Naruto theme, Gundam theme, just to name a few. It also has tons of compilations of retro Nintendo music, so it is definitely the best one for the soundtrack. It also has the most game modes out of the trilogy, and it's a lot of fun to play with friends. It has a great 4-player mode where you guys can all play together. You can play, concerts, they call it, and it just contains so much content for a rhythm game. It's based on the Taiko Drum Master engine that Namco founded, and it's just definitely one of the best rhythm games I've ever played, and dare I say it's better than the mighty Guitar Hero that dominated this era of rhythm games. So if you're a fan of Donkey Kong, if you're a fan of J-pop, if you're a fan of rhythm games, this is one of the best games you can get out of any console. Well worth it to import, well worth it for your GameCube, well worth the price of admission. This is Donkey Kong 3 for the Nintendo GameCube, a game that was sadly left in Japan.
and follow me if you want to get rid of these pack people forever!
Gobbling up the number 3 spot, we have Pac-Man World 2. This game was fantastic back in the day, and it still holds up great today. A really forgotten action platformer, Pac-Man World 2 allowed the player to freely explore tons of levels. It had a really high difficulty as well, which is why I like it so much today. This game is not an easy game to beat, and it was extremely satisfying to beat back in the day when it was new. Also cool about this game is the fact that it includes all the older Pac-Man games to unlock, which is a really cool unlockable. It actually gives purpose to you collecting all of these tokens, and it's just really nice to play these games and this arcade the game provides for you. The game also has a really cool sense of exploration. There's tons of fruit to collect, there's tons of high scores to get, and there's tons of cool bosses to fight. This is one of those adventure games that I'm not really sure why nobody talks about it. It is really well made. It has a great score. It has some great voice acting like you heard in the beginning there. The cutscenes are all really well done. And like I said, what I like about this game the most is the fact that it's so damn difficult. Like, seriously, you'll waste tons of lives trying to do certain missions in this game, but it is so worth it. And if that wasn't enough, Pac-Man World 2 just so happened to come bundled with one of the best multiplayer experiences on the Nintendo Gamecube. With 1 Game Boy Advance and 3 Gamecube controllers, this game's doing it right, by the way. You can play this amazing versus Pac-Man game, where 1 player controls Pac-Man, while 3 of his friends control the ghost and try to get him, so they can assume the role of Pac-Man, and whoever gets the most points at the end of the game wins. It is just a really fun multiplayer game, and for being free, it definitely ups Pac-Man World 2 in this list, just because of how awesome it is, and the fact that you take this single player game and you package it with one of the best multiplayer experiences to date. This game is not really played anymore, but I think it's totally worth a pickup, and for the both single player and multiplayer player, this game is for anyone that likes video games or that likes Pac-Man. Blasting its way onto the number 2 spot of this list, it's TimeSplitter's Future Perfect, one of the best console FPSs of all time and my favorite console FPS of last generation. This game has so much content, I don't even know where to begin. It has an amazing story mode, it has an amazing co-op story mode that actually integrates the second player into the story. It has a great arcade mode, which is tons of modes and medals to unlock. It has over 150 unlockable characters as well as unlockable weapons from the sci-fi era, the 90s, early 1900s, Vietnam War, tons of unique weapons and tons of cool environments to play in, just tons of cool levels. It has an amazing map maker that I can't even describe to you here. You can literally make any map you want with it. It's that great. It has profiles you can have. It has just tons of achievements and things to unlock. And this game really can cater to your custom likings to an FPS. It also has custom button remapping, which back then in that generation was really something. Now online wasn't in the GameCube version, but that's a moot point now that nobody can play online, right? So anyways, this game is just, you can make it however you want, and that's why this game is just one of my favorite FPSs of all time. It's a truly custom experience with a variety of levels and weapons, and it really just is whatever you make it out to be. TimeSplitters 3 definitely deserves the number 2 spot on this list. Amazing game.
can't beat 'em? Eat 'em. Chew up the competition with Kirby as he jets across 20 gap-busting race courses in Kirby Air Ride. Only on Nintendo Gamecube. Rated E for everyone.
And the #1 hidden gem of the Nintendo Gamecube is Kirby's Air Ride. Not only one of the best Kirby games ever made, but one of the best games of all time. So what makes Kirby's Air Ride so amazing? First off, the controls are great. A single button controls your braking, your boost, your drifting, everything, and it works out fantastically. Second of all, the 3 distinct game modes are all extremely fun, and each are packing 120 achievements with up to 4-player multiplayer and tons of unlockables like extra Kirbys and different ships. It's really fun. So the first game mode is Air Ride, which is pretty much just straight up racing. Not too much there. The second game mode is Top Ride, which is an RC Pro-Am homage that's really fun to play with friends and an absolute blast to play by yourself as well. And the final game mode, the game mode I'm going to focus on, is called City Trial. It kind of combines Air Ride and a new game mode, and it's just really fun. So what City Trial consists of is you play as Kirby, and you have 5 minutes to collect as many power-ups as you possibly can, as well as upgrading your ship. After those 5 minutes end, you are thrown into a random event in which you're supposed to race, you're supposed to battle King Dedede, you're supposed to battle other Kirby players. It's really funny. You never know what to expect from this game mode. And it's just a blast to play. You can literally play this game mode for hours without even noticing time goes by. Even though it might only last 5 minutes, you'll immediately want to replay it as soon as you're done. Also, this game includes a free run mode in City Trial, which you can just roam around the city with your Kirby's and you guys can hop off your ships and explore the world. And it's really cool. You can make up your own games in the city. I used to play chicken and tag and uphill river racing with my friends. It was really fun, and the creativity is definitely the limit in City Trial. You can do tons of cool things with City Trial, and it's just an absolute ball to play. So that's why Kirby's Air Ride is my favorite game on the Nintendo Gamecube. It is just packed with action, packed with content, packed with features, and I've never seen another video game this feature rich. Totally pick it up. It might not be a platforming Kirby game, but in my honest opinion, it's better than every other Kirby game out there, and it is totally worth being in your GameCube collection. So there you have it, my top 10 hidden gems of the Nintendo GameCube. If you have a hidden gem for the Nintendo GameCube that you feel needs some love, please leave a response below. I would absolutely love a video response with you telling me all about your favorite GameCube game that just doesn't get a lot of love. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this top 10. If you want to see more, just let me know. This is Only Me Feet saying, look ma, no hands. I'll catch you all later. Bye.